Hello everybody and welcome back to another Roundball Daily Rant. My name is Kels Dayton. Just wanted to film this quick video. It's a beautiful day out here on the back porch here. It's summer. There's not a whole lot going on as it is the dog days of summer, but I wanted to talk about this a little bit. The Club World Cup, that's one of the big things that has been going on this summer, and FIFA coming up with the event, and obviously it's a brand new event in terms of the format, 32 teams from all different countries, different continents as well. We saw Brazilian teams in there, Mexican teams that didn't really get to play in the old format. When you take a look at it, it was usually just a couple champions, different continental champions. You had teams from Saudi Arabia and whatnot in that event. Now it's a more open event, MLS teams playing in it, which I think is great. I think that's a phenomenal thing for the future, and I think it's a really great idea for the future, as a lot of people have said. Obviously there are some flaws with it. I think one of the flaws obviously is that it is played at the end of a long domestic season, so much soccer going on from August all the way through May, and then you have the Club World Cup tournament, which a lot of people have even said this is the most prestigious event. One of the Chelsea players, after Chelsea beat PSG in the final, said this event is going to be the biggest trophy, or I think he actually said it's the biggest trophy that he's won in his career. And you take a look at it, he was saying it's going to be bigger than the Champions League, and you can see why that might be the case. Obviously the Champions League has a lot of history when you look back at it. It's all European teams, but it's such a great idea, and I think the Champions League is really kind of like the NCAA tournament. That's kind of the parallel you can draw with it as far as American sports for Europe. Obviously soccer, football over there, the biggest sport in Europe, and I think for them it's such a great event when you have your domestic champion, the champion of your country, going up against champions from all across Europe. Wonderful, brilliant idea back in the day. I think this may, in today's world, the modern world, obviously a world where the world is smaller, it's more globalized, you can get people together. Obviously Lionel Messi playing in the MLS is a big deal, and I thought it was a little bit ridiculous in terms of the invites and how the tournament worked as far as the teams that are playing. It's every 4 years. So you're going to have Chelsea's going to have a badge on their chest for 4 years now that they've won this Club World Cup, which is kind of crazy. I know Chelsea fans, my boy Jared likes that as well. But I think when you look at it, it was interesting. The selection process for the teams getting in. Inter Miami didn't really win anything. I feel like they didn't belong in there. But you could have some sort of ranking system, and I know they only put them in because Messi plays for Inter Miami. Obviously, they wanted to get those matchups, and they did. They got Inter Miami against PSG in the round of 16 in the knockout stage, and they got absolutely blitzed, which was going to happen. And I'm sure PSG took some level of satisfaction knocking out Messi there, especially after he left to go to Miami. But I think when you take a look at it, it is a very interesting event. It's an event that deserves to exist, I think, and in the future, I think it's going to get better. I think the things that I would change, first of all, I think they have to find some way to fit it in. I don't think July, although July is kind of when the World Cup is held, so you can see the parallels there. I'm not sure just after such a long season if that's when it should be held, but I also kind of feel like it should be something that maybe could be annually, and I know that adds even more to the calendar, so that maybe that's not a good idea. But I just think in terms of the value of the competition, the rest of the world facing off against the best European teams, I think it would have a lot of value. And I think as an American and as an American fan of soccer and the MLS, it's great seeing MLS teams in there. It'd be great seeing my Red Bulls in there one year, seeing them take on some of the biggest teams. I'd love to see, like, I'm a Tottenham fan, obviously, so if they ever qualified for this, which I think they're on the right path here with the summer that they've had, Morgan Gibbs-White notwithstanding. But I think when you take a look at it, certainly I think there's a lot of potential for growth. I think it would be something that people from all over the world, just like the World Cup, everyone obviously has a country that they'll root for in the World Cup. The soccer fans all across the world have their own favorite teams that they could root for if they reach the Club World Cup, and such a great competition. I mean, who doesn't like the chance to see your team and your local division, your country, go up against the best of the best in the world? So I think that has extreme value, and I think you can parallel that, again, like I said before, to the NCAA tournament with, like, here's our conference, this is my school, Quinnipiac, we play in the MAC, although we keep blowing it in the MAC tournament, not making it in the men's basketball tournament. But the chance to play the big schools across the country, the chance to get in there and play against the best of the best, that's the appeal. And I think the geographic appeal as well, when you look at the smaller leagues as well, getting teams in. So I think that's kind of the appeal of the Club World Cup as well. well. Obviously, FIFA likes to mess stuff up. They don't have the best process with Gianni Infantino. The Donald Trump stuff was completely ridiculous. Get the man off the stage. Shouldn't have been anywhere near it. Shouldn't have been anywhere near the Club World Cup, and it's kind of embarrassing as an American to have that guy in there and seeing him try to take it over and make it about himself. He doesn't know anything about soccer. We know this, but we'll stay away from politics for a little bit. But I do think that, you know, when you look at it, I think that this is an event that certainly has a lot of merit, and I think in the future could be one of the big events, but it's going to have a different path to get there. Obviously, the Champions League has tradition. It hasn't been around as long as you might think. It used to be called the Cup Winners' Cup back in the day, but it certainly has tradition for decades and decades going back, and I think certainly it's going to be tough to, you know, override that. Wouldn't want to see the Champions League obviously go away because it's such a brilliant competition, and I don't think there's any chance of it going away at all. Obviously run by different people. UEFA runs the Champions League, FIFA running this, but if they could find a way to make it coexist, if you can get rid of some of the extraneous stuff, maybe the Nations League doesn't need to exist because we've got international friendlies now. Don't need to put them into some sort of tournament where you have to play games and things mean more. They want to do that with everything nowadays, but I just think this is something that could be really great. And I think when you look at the future, certainly something that we may go back and think about the fact that Chelsea won the first ever Club World Cup. And I think that that's going to be something that they're going to be proud of in the future. And I think for Chelsea fans, obviously they've now won every trophy available to club teams. They've won the Champions League, they've won the Premier League title, they've won the FA Cup, Carabao Cup, etc. I think they're very proud of that. Obviously, they won the UEFA Conference League this year. I would say that that's not as big of a deal when you look at that, obviously, because it's a third-rate competition. It's not even close to the Champions League or the Europa League, which Tottenham won this year. But you only get in the Conference League by finishing in a worse place. This is something that Americans don't do when you take a look at their things. I don't think North Carolina would be bragging that they've won the NCAA tournament, the NIT, and the CIT, or the CBI. I feel like that's not something that we would do over here. We'd be like, finish better in the regular season, or you know, what's the point of winning a trophy if it's a second-rate trophy? It just doesn't make sense to us over here. But over there, of course, it's about the glory. It's about winning competitions. It's about taking home a trophy, silverware, which I can respect that as well. I understand that thought process as well. If you're in a tournament, you might as well win it. And I think the history and tradition of it is, you know, it's different than it is over here because of the different countries, the different competitions that you can take part in. So I think that's part of the reason why that they feel that way. But I think, you know, not to give Arsenal any fuel to the fire and what they've been saying. Obviously, they haven't won a trophy this season or in a little while here, so going back a few years. But, you know, I think finishing second in the Premier League, obviously, or third this season, whatever it was, I can't even remember right now because it was irrelevant. But I think that finishing there, obviously better than finishing 17th like we did as Tottenham. But we did win the Europa League, so just obviously the difference there, quite different. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been the Soccer Minute here, the Roundball Daily Rant. My name is Kels Dayton, and we'll come back at you with more of these right here on the Roundball Daily YouTube channel. See you next time.